Can you hear me now? Okay, thank you. So since our scholarships are race-based, I think it's important to understand what that means, and especially as high school students who are going to be entering the real world, living school and becoming adults, how you are classified and understanding who is in the community with you is important. So for AAPIs, Asian American and Pacific Islanders, we are part of 48 different ethnic groups, speaking over 300 languages. So our community is incredibly diverse. How we are doing is incredibly diverse, especially in terms of poverty rates, educational attainment rates. So some fast facts about the API community. From 2007 to 2011, the number of APIs in poverty increased by 38%. To put that number in perspective, the average at the time for the nation was 27%. So we're already looking at a number that is 11% above the national average. If you look at Asian Americans alone, that number is 37%. And if you look at Pacific Islanders alone, that number is 60%. So even within AAPI, how we're doing is very different. I do want to skip to the last bullet for the sake of time. From 2006 to 2008, 56% of Pacific Islanders and 45% of Southeast Asians enrolled in college and left without a degree. For a lot of our community members, there is a huge dropout rate. And it's especially concerning for us as a scholarship fund because we see that our community members want to go to college, they are enrolling, but something is happening along the way, and there's a huge dropout rate. So about API-ASF, we are the nation's largest nonprofit provider of college scholarships for Asian American and Pacific Islander students, and since 2003, we've distributed over $100 million in scholarships for our students, all across the country and the Pacific Islands. Okay. So, our students and parents in here. Who are my high school seniors? Ooh, okay. Any juniors? Any sophomores? Freshmen? Okay, I got some nice representation in here. Seniors, are you freaking out? Is anyone freaking out about college? No, you're chill? You know where you're going, you got it together, you're like, yeah, I'll get in somewhere. I like your confidence. When I was a senior in high school, I was freaking out. From about April of my junior year to April of my senior, I was wondering, where am I gonna go? I'm gonna apply to all these places, no one's gonna accept me. Even if I do get into college, how am I gonna pay for it? So when you're thinking about college, there's always a lot that you need to consider, which can be overwhelming. You wanna look at academic programs, you wanna look at where it's located geographically, but you also wanna think about your social life, right? Who's thinking about their social life in college? Few hands are like, yeah, sorry mom, sorry dad. Thinking about my social life. You should. You should absolutely think about what you're going to do while you're on campus besides class, because you're not just going to go to class and study all the time. Okay, you should go to class, every class, don't sleep in, and you should absolutely study. But I do want to talk to you about your social life because there's one factor that contributes to your success both in college and after. More than which college you choose, more than what major you decide to pursue, your success, both in college and after, is more tied to your sense of belonging on campus, your belief that you deserve to be there, than anything else. And a big part of that is by creating your own space, by joining clubs, by playing sports, by being involved. So whatever your thing in college is going to be, whatever sport or club you try to pursue, I highly recommend rugby. It's an excellent way to get out aggression, and it's a great stress relief. That was my thing. But whatever it is you're going to do, please get involved with the social part of the college experience. Okay. And then, of course, everyone is always freaking out about how they're going to pay for college. Okay. So my first point that I want to make for students and parents is please, don't be deterred by the cost. There are a lot of resources that are available to you. I'm going to talk to you about 2 specific scholarship programs, but that's 2 out of hundreds, if not thousands, of other opportunities. It's just really a matter of researching them. So I break financial aid into 2 buckets. There's the type you have to pay back, which are loans. Everyone's familiar with loans and how they work. Borrow money, have to pay back, typically with interest. Less ideal. No one likes to owe anyone money, but it's a solid option. It's an option that a lot of students take. But what we want are scholarships and grants. Because this is gift aid. This is money that is given to you. You do not need to pay anyone back for. Okay, so if we can get enough scholarships and grants for college, then maybe we don't have to take out any loans. Now, sources of aid. The federal and state government is one source of aid. Has anyone heard of the Pell Grant? Familiar with the Pell Grant? Pell Grant is a federal grant based on financial need. So your grades in high school don't matter. It's based purely on your financial need. Please remember Pell Grant because it's going to come up when I talk about Gates. So if you're Pell Grant eligible, if you have the financial need, and you're Pell Grant eligible, the cap for what you may receive is usually all the way up to $5,000. It could be a few $100s, it could be a few $1,000s, the cap's usually at $5,000. Colleges and universities will often have their own scholarship programs, so that should absolutely be a factor when you're looking at colleges to apply to and which one you end up choosing, because some colleges have great financial aid packages and some don't have as many funds. It's just not as robust. Companies and organizations, a lot of larger corporations, have scholarship programs that you may be eligible for and you can apply to. Coca-Cola, Dell, Walmart, Target, there's a lot of larger corporations who may have opportunities. And then, of course, there are scholarship funds, and these are organizations who exist solely to provide scholarships, and that's me. So I do want to talk about FAFSA quickly because this is a requirement for both of our scholarship programs. You absolutely must fill it out. It is your free application for federal student aid, and it is used to determine how much you and your family can be expected to contribute to your cost of college. This is known as your EFC, your expected family contribution. Please remember EFC because I will talk about it again when I talk about GATES. Now, in addition to knowing your EFC, your FAFSA form is used to determine your eligibility for all types of aid. So these sources that I talked about, the federal and state government, colleges, universities, companies, organizations, scholarship funds, most, if not all, will require that you've completed your FAFSA in order for them to determine that you are eligible for their scholarship programs. So just do it. This is the website, fafsa.edu.gov. Please make sure you're on the correct site. There are similar sites that are not the right one, so it should look like this. Now, there's a tool on that page called FAFSA Forecaster under a section called Thinking About College. That's you guys. The FAFSA Forecaster tool is a questionnaire. It is not the FAFSA application. The actual application is much, much longer. But this short questionnaire is going to ask your basic personal information, estimates of your financial information, and using this can tell you a number of things. It can tell you what your expected family contribution might be, whether or not you are Pell Grant eligible. Remember, the Pell Grant is your federal grant based on financial need. And if you are Pell Grant eligible, what is the award amount that you may expect to receive? So these are estimates only. I do want to emphasize that, estimates only. But if you are someone who is trying to think about how much you might be expecting to pay for college out of pocket versus how much you could expect to receive in grants from the federal and state government, this is an excellent tool. So I do encourage you to jump on the website and check it out. So, seniors, you can start your FAFSA application as early as January 1st. Please do not start it any sooner. You must complete the FAFSA application for the year you are enrolling in college. So, if your plan is to enroll in college in fall 2016, you must complete your FAFSA application in 2016. It opens January 1st, and for our scholarship programs, we do recommend that you complete your FAFSA application by February 15th. February 15th. Because if you are selected as a finalist for either APISF or GMS or both, we are going to reach out to you sometime in March to request that you submit your student aid report, which is provided by FAFSA, as well as your high school transcript and any college acceptance letters you may have received. But your FAFSA application takes 3 to 6 weeks to process. So it could take up to 6 weeks to receive your student aid report back. So if you filed your FAFSA by February 15th, then by the time we reach out to you in late March or early April, you should already have your student aid report ready and available. Does that timeline make sense? Okay. So now our scholarship programs. I'm going to talk about APSF's General Scholarship first, and then I'm going to talk about GATES. So the APSF General Scholarship Program is actually a variety of scholarship opportunities. There's not just one type of award that is available. So our award amounts range from $2,500 up to $15,000. Some of our scholarships are 1, 2, 3, or 4-year scholarships. Some are career-specific, requiring you to pursue a career in journalism or the culinary arts. Some are location-specific, requiring you to live in a specific state or a zip code. But the majority of our scholarships, the vast majority, have no other criteria besides our minimum eligibility criteria, which are to be Asian American and of Pacific Islander ethnicity as defined by the U.S. Census, and there is no minimum blood percentage, so if you're mixed race like me, that's cool. There's no minimum percentage you have to be to qualify as being Asian enough or Pacific Islander enough, and that would be silly. You must be a citizen, national, legal, permanent resident of the United States, citizens of the Republic of the Marshall Islands, Federated States of Micronesia, and the Republic of Palau are also eligible to apply. must be enrolling as an undergraduate student at a U.S. accredited college or university for the fall 2016 term. So this program is open to current college students. Meaning current college students who are pursuing their undergraduate degree can apply. Also meaning for you guys, if you apply this year and you get it, and you get a one-time award and you want to try again while you're in college, you may. If you apply this year and you don't get it and you want to try again while you're in college, you may. GPA minimums at 2.7 on a 4.0 scale, unweighted, or have earned a GED. If you're unsure if your GPA is weighted or not, talk to your counselor at your school and they can help you. And you must apply for FAFSA. Okay. Any questions on requirements? It's pretty straightforward. You don't have to take notes on this slide. I did bring brochures for both of our scholarship programs that have the eligibility criteria on them. So I'll leave copies here with you so you can pick them up later today. Okay, so what you need. There's the application form. Our application is online only. There's no paper application that is available. You'll create your online account, you'll have your email address, you'll create your own password, so you can work on your application at your own pace. There are 3 essays that are required. They are 500 words or less each. Don't worry, students, all you have to do is talk about yourself. Okay. Your challenges, your successes, your involvement in the community, how you plan to give back. Your short and long-term goals. Those are the 3 essay questions. There's 1 recommendation letter that is required. Has anyone here requested a letter of recommendation before? Couple hands. Okay, we'll talk more about that process when we talk about GATES. And of course, you must apply for FAFSA. Now, this application's open. Seniors, have any of you started? You can start now. Okay. The deadline is January 8, 2016 at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, you have plenty of time to work on it. You start now. Super easy. Okay, now I'm going to talk about GATES. Before I delve into the GATES Millennium Scholars Program, I do think it's important for you to know, if you don't already, that this is the last year of the program. It will not be offered next year. So high school seniors, you're the last class who is eligible to apply. Congratulations on when you chose to be born. Well done. For the underclassmen, don't worry, there are other scholarship opportunities that are out there, but unfortunately, this is not going to be one of them. Okay, so about GMS, the Gates Millennium Scholars Program was established in 1999 by a $1.6 billion grant from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and its goal is to promote academic excellence and provide an opportunity for outstanding students of color with significant financial need to reach their highest potential. So about this program, the way it's structured, there are 4 partner organizations. APASF is just one of them. There's the United Negro College Fund, UNCF, based in Washington, D.C., Hispanic Scholarship Fund, HSF, based in Cerritos, California, American Indian Graduate Center Scholars, AIGCS, based in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and then, of course, APASF, who are also based in Washington, D.C. So together, we are the 4 partner organizations who manage the program for our students. Now, about the award, because this can be confusing, the GMS scholarship is a last dollar scholarship, meaning that it covers unmet need. So this is the formula that we use to calculate the GMS award, because the GMS award looks different for every scholar, and for each scholar it can look different year after year. So, this formula. You take your total cost of attendance, your COA, that's your tuition, housing, books, transportation, your meal plan, etc., that one big cost for you to attend college. Subtract your expected family contribution. How do you know your EFC? Someone? FAFSA. FAFSA tells you your EFC. Subtract any other gift aid you may have received, any other grants or scholarships that you may have applied for, and subtract that from your total cost of attendance. The leftover balance is your unmet need that you'd be expected to pay for through either loans or work study or other means. But if you're a GMS scholar, this unmet need is your GMS award. GMS will step in and pay the unmet need, will pay the bill for college, so you don't have to pay anything. Does that make sense? So if I'm a freshman in college and say I got tons of scholarships that I applied for and won, I applied to a lot of opportunities my senior year, and my unmet need is $5, then my GMS award is $5. Thank goodness they were there. But maybe my situation is different. Maybe I didn't get as much outside aid. Maybe I'm going out of state to a private university, and my unmet need is $50,000. Then my GMS award is $50,000. There's no minimum or maximum for what the GMS award would be for our undergraduate students. Okay, your unmet need is your unmet need, and GMS will cover it. So that means you can attend any college of your choice, whether it's a 2-year or a 4-year, public, private, in-state, out-of-state, pursuing whatever major you would like for your undergraduate degree, GMS will cover. The GMS awards the potential of funding for up to 10 years. So for your bachelor's degree, you have up to 5 years of funding. Of course, for your bachelor's degree, you want to try to graduate in 4, but if you need a 5th year, you've got it. If you're interested in pursuing a master's and or a PhD degree, then there's potential for funding there as well, as long as it's in one of our 7 funded areas. They're primarily STEM, the science, mathematics, engineering, computer science. There's also education, public health, library science. So there's quite a few options for your master's or PhD degree if you're interested in GMS to fund it. Requirements. Be of African American, American Indian, Alaska Native, Asian American, Pacific Islander, Hispanic American ethnicity as defined by the US Census. Again, if you're mixed race, no problem. No minimum percentage of blood quantum you have to be. If you're mixed race, you identify with more than one partner organization, that's cool too. For the purpose of the application, however, you'll be required to check just one racial box because only one partner office will administer your paperwork, so it's from a purely bureaucratic paperwork standpoint and not a philosophical, you have to choose sides. You must be a citizen, national, legal, permanent resident of the United States, citizens of the Republic of Marshall Islands, Federations of Micronesia, and the Republic of Palau, also eligible to apply. Must be enrolling as an undergraduate student at a U.S. accredited college or university as a first-time, full-time, first-year degree-seeking student, essentially a college freshman. GPA minimums of 3.3 on a 4.0 scale, unweighted, or under GED. And you must apply for FAFSA. In addition to applying for FAFSA, you must be federal Pell Grant eligible. How do you know if you're Pell Grant eligible? Anyone? I saw someone bow that. FAFSA tells you whether or not you're Pell Grant eligible and what the award amount may be. But you're not able to file your FAFSA until January. Our application's open now. Our deadline is in January. So how do you know now whether or not you're Pell Grant eligible? There's a tool that I mentioned on the FAFSA website called FAFSA Forecaster. It's that questionnaire that you need to fill out with your basic personal information, estimates your financial information, and it tells you what your expected family contribution might be, whether or not you may be Pell Grant eligible, and if you are, what is the award amount you may be expecting to receive. Okay? So if you're wondering whether or not you meet the Pell Grant eligibility criteria to be able to apply for GMS, use the FAFSA Forecaster tool. It's a great way to gauge. What you need, in addition to your FAFSA, there's a nominee form. You as the applicant, you are the nominee. Again, this is an online application only. There's no paper application that is available. You'll create your online account, username and password, work on your application at your own pace. There are 8 essay questions. They are 1,000 words or less each. And yes, you must complete all 8. Yes, I know that sounds like a lot. However, if you start now and you write 1 essay a week now, then you're done by December. And our deadline's in January, so this still gives you a month and change to revise and edit, give your applications to your essays to other people to revise and give you feedback. So this application is completely doable. Don't be scared by 8 essays. Now, there are 2 recommendation forms that are required. Let me highlight the difference between the 2 because if you get it wrong, if the forms get flipped, then you could be disqualified. And it happens every year. So the first form is your nominator form. Your nominator must be an educator. They must be someone from the academic system, from the school system, from the academic world, whether that's a teacher, a counselor, a principal, or assistant principal, someone from the world of academics who can speak about your academic achievements. That is your nominator. Your recommender can be your nominator. They can be the same person. They can be a different teacher, a different counselor, a different assistant principal, or they can be someone from outside the school system. It could be a pastor, a priest, a coach, someone you've done volunteer work with, someone who has worked with you outside of school who can talk about what you have done outside of school to help give us the full picture. Now, if your recommender is not an educator and accidentally completes the nominator form, then you may be disqualified because they do not meet the nominator requirements. However, if you catch this mistake early enough, you'll be able to see in your online application who has submitted what form, who has completed what, then you can correct it. Okay. You can correct it before the deadline. So please make sure you pay attention. However, you can avoid any mistakes like that by clearly communicating beforehand to your nominator and recommender, letting them know which role they are fulfilling and which forms they need to complete. Okay. So this application is open. It opened August 1st. Has anyone started? Start now. There's a lot in this application. Please start now. Start early. Okay. The deadline is January 13, 2016 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, it seems like you have a lot of time for this. However, remember, there are 2 recommendation forms that are required. There are 8 essays, and while you may think that winter break is a great time to work on your application, and yes, it is a great time to work on it, if you need recommendation forms that are also due by the deadline, and our deadline's in early January, where are your recommenders before January? Probably also on winter break. If you need a recommendation letter from a teacher or counselor, they're probably also on winter break. If they don't submit their recommendation letter by our deadline, your package is incomplete. If you are still on break and don't get back until the second week of January, how much time do you have to talk to them about your recommendation? Probably not a lot. Probably not a lot. And we get thousands of applications that are incomplete every year because the recommender and the nominator didn't submit their forms. And we get upset students who say, but I wrote 8 essays. Yeah, but you need your recommendation letters too. So, if you're applying for GMS, if you know you're going to apply, please start now. Please talk to your nominators and your recommenders now. You should give them at least a month's notice before the deadline for any application, for any college application, for any scholarship applications, because especially if they're a teacher or a counselor, they're probably getting a lot of students asking them for recommendation letters. Okay, so give them plenty of time to complete yours. Seniors, do you have a resume? Does anyone have a resume? Great. If you don't have a resume, then think about creating one, because you should give a copy of your resume to your nominator and your recommender so they have things to talk about. So they can be your advocate. Help them help you. This is the person who's going to vouch for you. So you want them to be able to say strong and positive and wonderful things. Okay. So scholarship services. In addition to providing scholarships, there are also wraparound services that APSF and GMS provides to our students. There are individualized advising sessions that are offered to students. There's mentoring opportunities, professional development opportunities, and you're also entering a community of scholars and alumni, a whole network of scholars and alumni who are located all across the country and the Pacific Islands. There are other resources. This is a slide I always find that is important to share with students and parents. Please take a picture if you would like. There are a lot of resources that are out there, a lot of places where you can look for aid for college, for paying for college. Please be sure that the resource you are going to, however, is credible, that it is a legitimate source, because while there are a lot of opportunities, there are also a lot of scams. And a good rule of thumb is that if anyone ever asks you to pay for a scholarship application, it is probably a scam. Scholarship applications should be free. Why would you give someone your money in the hopes that they will give it back to you? Okay? Hold on to your money. Save it for college so you can buy some tacos. Okay. Application tips. Be yourself. Please be yourself. Write thoughtfully. The whole point of these essays is for us to get to know you, to understand who you are. That is all anyone is ever trying to figure out. That's what colleges are trying to figure out. That's what other scholarship funds are trying to figure out. Who is this person coming into our campus? Who is this person that we are funding? Who are you? What is your story? What are your challenges and your successes? What are your goals? Who do you hope to be? How are you going to give back? So talk about yourself. Select recommenders who know you, can write a thoughtful recommendation for you. So your next steps are to research. It can be overwhelming, I know, but please research colleges, research scholarships, research the opportunities that may be out there for you. If you're unsure where to start looking, talk to your high school counselor. They know a lot of stuff. They can point you in a direction if you need pointed in a direction. And of course, get started on your essays. Guys, I know 8 essays is a lot for a GMS. However, all these scholarship opportunities in colleges, they're asking the same, if not similar, questions. So guess what you can do with your essays? Copy and paste. I'm so serious, copy and paste. It's completely okay. If we're all asking you to tell us about yourself, is your story going to change very much? No. Okay, so absolutely copy and paste. If you've already written an essay that answers one of our essay questions, then yeah, definitely use it. Just make sure it's within the word limit and it fully answers our question. I had one GMS scholar 2 years ago who completed her GMS application first, and she told me she used her 8 essays to apply to a total of 40 scholarship opportunities. And she spent 5 minutes in all the other applications, after she spent a few hours on ours, because all she had to do for the other guys was critically count, read the essay question, copy and paste one of her GMS essays, tweak as needed, and submit. And she applied to 40 in total. I was amazed. I applied to 1, and it was because a teacher made me. Okay. So you should definitely view the essays, the work that you put into your application, as your way of arming yourself. Your essays are your arsenal to complete so many other opportunities and open yourself up to all these other opportunities. Okay, so that's the end of my presentation. We are on Facebook and Twitter. You can find me on Facebook as Stacy Lewis, aka ASF. If Facebook's your preferred mode of communication, you can message me there. That's my phone number and my email, outreach@apsf.org. But please don't call me. Not that I don't want to talk to you. I travel about 80% of the time from August to December. I'm actually flying to Dallas on Monday, so I won't be at my desk to answer any phone calls. However, if you email me, I do keep up with my email very, very well, so if you email me with questions, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you.